What are the effects of the lack of after-school programming for children in our communities?
Well, the immediate effect is the so-called, I hate to use the terminology, gang situation, which to me is incorrect analogy. That situation is when you have 15-year-olds and 14-year-olds, etc., who don't have a sense of community, they'll develop their own community. And when we don't have after-school programs, there's no connection between those of us who we consider the elders in the community and the youth. There's no guidance. And you can't have an African village if there's no guidance. So that's one of the immediate effects. But on the other side, I think that the absence of these programs in the community is only a wake-up call for us to step up our game. You know, to stop depending on the enemy to provide anything for us. You know, we can't speak about liberation and complain because the enemy doesn't want to watch our children after school. That's our job.
Yes, sir. That's our job. We must be the change we want to see collectively.
Definitely.
So how are children being prepared to be productive in the future?
Well, the American system doesn't prepare children to be productive. It prepares our children to be exploited. You know, this is a system of chattel slavery still going on, even though the chains are not visible. So, you know, the American system, again, is not built to produce a leader. It's built to produce a worker, a follower. So what we have to understand is that we have to be the ones to produce these leaders, to produce these productive people. Because productive in society just means get a job, be quiet, you know, get a pension and die. That's productive. So in that case, they got a lot of productive people out there. But in the revolutionary sense, in the true nationalist sense, it cannot produce what we need. Garvey will not come from the school system. U.E.P. Newton will not come from the school system. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Malcolm X, etc., you know, Sojourner Truth will not come from the school system of white oppression. So we have to absent white oppression in the equation of development of our children.
Yes, sir. Does the educational system address the racial unbalance, and does it change or prevent racism, or does it further it?
Well, to go to the latter, it definitely furthers it.
Yes, sir.
And to go to the first, it addresses it, but it doesn't address the situation in a way that we would like to see it. We would like them to expose the racist person and, you know, make things better. But what it does is, by furthering it, exposes the fact that there is a racial contradiction going on in this country. When we can see a drunken Negro cookie, when we can see a cartoon depicting Barack Obama as a monkey, and this is allowed to go on, then that is a direct exposing of racism. And the educational system, by denying black people a knowledge of self and denying you a proper knowledge of your history, only goes to further and expose the fact that racism exists. So what they're doing, and without even realizing it, is making the argument for nationalists a strong argument.
Can you explain how the Willie Lynch theory affects or manifests itself in the system?
Definitely. Let's take, for instance, the separation of what they would call classes. In the Willie Lynch theory, one of the strongest points in that theory was the ability to separate, let's say, the rich from the poor, or the slave who had a little more from the slave who didn't have nothing, or the slave in the house from the slave in the field. So what they do in the school system is, you get to go to college, so automatically, because you step foot on the college campus, you're better than the child that doesn't step foot on the college campus. Or I might be a trash person, and you went to school to be a doctor, so you're better. You know, so this is the direct use of Willie Lynch syndrome, or Willie Lynch theory, in the educational system, or providing certain educations to certain people and better education to other people. Just as during slavery, you would provide the better clothing to the house Negro, and to the field Negro, you would provide the lesser clothing. You know, so we have to understand that, and this is how it's happening today in our school systems. And then there's the overseer as well, which is the teacher.
Yes, sir. So we say down with the Willie Lynch syndrome. Now, which leads you to this question. Why are the black youth subject to criminalization in the schools?
Well, the two reasons. One, we have to go back. Again, we always use this quote, history versus rewards or research. When you go back to recent history, you will see a man named J. Edgar Hoover, who came up with a theory called the counterintelligence program. And the first time it was implemented in the 40s against Marcus Garvey, and it's went on to be implemented against a lot of people. But in these acts, it says that one of the main objectives is to prevent the rise of a black messiah. Well, if you look at Scripture, and we're talking about revolutionary or black theology or liberation theology, let's look at Scripture. Where do the messiahs come from? They come from the youth. They come from the babes of the oppressed. So if we can assassinate and criminalize these youth from the beginning, we don't have to worry about the Messiah. We don't have to worry about no one rising up, because it's not someone of age, it's someone who's coming into it. And also, it's training our children, again, to be a part of that prison industrial complex that houses over 70% of our people, which is the modern-day plantation. If I can bring you into a school and have you strip search just to get into school, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to come into the school and get accustomed to being searched. You can think that's normal. Or you won't come into the school at all, and then we can lock you out of a future. So this is why this is happening.
Yes, yes. So the black liberation theology goes deep. So deep that we can't answer with us these few questions.
No, it takes a lot more. It takes a whole lot more to answer it and a whole lot more to approach it. I mean, one of the things we have to really focus is that we need a liberation theology.
Yes, sir.
We definitely need a liberation theology, and the reason we focus on that, because we know that black people, African people, original people, we're spiritual by nature. So theology or spirituality is a key factor in how we move. If you look back at history, Nat Turner did not lead those slaves in the rebellion just because they were mad at the white man. He tapped into spirituality to do that. Yes, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad formed the Nation of Islam. Marcus Garvey was able to use the Bible and shift our people into a paradigm of self-worth. So we have to be able to take these scriptures and do like Reverend Cleves did when he so eloquently wrote the book, Black Christian Nationalism, where he took the Christian belief, or the so-called Christian belief, and defined the blackness in it. He was able to point and say Jesus was black because he had woolly hair and bronze eyes. Or he was able to pose historical questions, like how in the world could a white man exist in a desert and not burn? This is part of a liberation theology, when we take these things and we make it black. We know and understand that from the triple stage darkness or blackness came all things. Even the white man admits that. We know in all our teachings that the universe is not blue, but black. We know that black is the essence of all things in the universe. You can take any color and it can come from black, but none of them can create black. So what we're saying, and boldly saying, is that we know and understand that God is black. Yes, and since we know God is black, we have to create a theology or a concept that reinforces that and teaches that to our people. Now, it can be, because it's such a universal language, the universe is so wide and expansive, you can believe in whatever you believe in. But whatever you believe in, you should be seeking the blackness in what you believe in. If you want to be a Christian, identify the blackness in it. Take me back to Ethiopia and show me there where it happened. If you want to be a Muslim, show me the blackness in Islam. You want to study Kemet, keep showing me the blackness in that. You should not be in Rome with our beliefs. We should not be in a European base saying that this is where it started from. And once we do that as a people, then we'll truly be liberated. But until then, we're just going to face emancipation, and we'll have religion. And religion is when you rely on something that you cannot explain, but you rely on it so much that you'll give your life for it. We don't rely on anything, We know and understand that through a liberation theology, we will base it on historical fact, we'll base it on a spiritual fact, and knowing that the high sciences are what we rely on. We're not praying to something we can't see. We don't believe in a mystery God.
Okay, so we conclude that a black liberation theology is needed and will be put into effect by our actions that will speak louder than our words. I thank you, Brother Shaka Shakur, for being
I
here
am the
today.
black man. Some know me as Imhotep, Ramsey, Martin, and Howard.
It's our time,
Others know me
liberation
as
time.
the brothers on the corner
Black Power
or
Hour.
in jail.
From this
Detroit Red and Malcolm X. From this day forward, I pledge my life to the liberation of my people.
The black man.
I will put the Creator first in my life. I will be a supportive, responsible, and loving mate. Why? Because I am the black man, the original man, the one that other men are afraid of, because they know that whenever I've been given an opportunity, I succeed.